Welcome back, family, to another episode of Shapeshifter. We're going to talk about the elephant in the room today. We are going to talk about technology, how tech got us twisted. So let's begin with the knowingness that we are the original technology. For those of us who are melanin dominant, we know that our melanin is divine data, that in the blood and bone, our mitochondrial DNA lives the original algorithm for all of life and all of creation. And so our melanin is divine data. Our nervous systems become antennas. Even the way that our hair comes out of our heads allows it to tune into the universe, that we were downloading cosmic frequencies long before Wi-Fi ever even existed, being able to observe nature and put a calendar together, which we know takes 1,000 years to do. The ability to go into the forest and learn the healing modalities of the plants, what plants to heal, what plants to use for different remedies, and what plants to avoid was part of that downloading. But now we are living in this society of 2025, soon to be 2026 years of Abrahamic tradition, of patriarchy and colonization. And so because they have not been able to tap into divine intelligence, they have to create artificial intelligence and appropriate those divine codes by mimicking it in the capitalistic industrial complex through the use of smart devices. And we know that they all require the minerals that come from the womb of the earth. So it seems like these devices have turned us into devices. Keep that. These devices have turned us into devices where we are always on. We are always reacting, updating, never resting. I'm from the old school. I come from a time where TV turned off at night. You couldn't watch TV anymore. You couldn't listen to the radio anymore. You just had to turn things off. And so that is draining us. It has us running low on our own internal. I'm going to say I'm fully addicted to the digital crack. Let me say it again. I am fully addicted to the digital crack, especially now that I have this podcast, to be honest, because that requires me to film and record. This is also why that this particular episode, I'm not doing video right now. I just didn't feel like doing the whole video thing. And then I have to edit, and then I have to promote it, and I have to upload it, and I'm working remotely. So that all my client work is remote. And then I have, presentations and trainings and things that I have to create. I have to create online tools and online content. I'm on technology more than ever before. And 5 years into this, and this 5 years for me because COVID, I'm starting to see patterns within myself that are not healthy. I'm starting to see how my brain is being rewired, and I don't like it. I know it's true for me. It's true for us all. When we think about the way tech was sold to us, it was always about this was going to make things easier, faster, more connected. And somewhere it seemed like we went from technology being the product to us actually being the product. That they're tapping into us, tugging at our attention. Every scroll is mining our data from our spirit. And we know that social media isn't free. We are what's being sold on social media. Like, oh no, it's free. Go ahead and set up an account so we can sell your soul, so we can sell your data. Studies are showing now, y'all, that adults check their phone over 100 times a day. And I'm calling out phones in particular. Yes, there's all types of technology, laptops, all the things, tablets, screens. But I'm really going to call out phones because I feel like phones is the thing that we're on the most because we can take these devices pretty much anywhere we want to go. So the idea that 100 times a day, your attention is getting pulled away from your own intuition, your own energetic currency, pulling away from yourself and giving it to someone else's algorithm. The more attention we give it, we know it's designed to keep us on it even longer, scrolling more. Now we're comparing ourselves. Now we're consuming. We're not creating. We're not resting. We're not building community. So this has wired our brains in a way that is triggering these constant dopamine hits. When you hear people talk about it, it's really just a chemical reward for achieving something. that there were times where you have to go out. Let's think about making a garment. You maybe had to have the design in your brain, and then you went to the store and you bought the fabric, and maybe you bought a pattern. Maybe you had to put the pattern together, and then you had to sit and sew. And so by the time that you got that finished garment, or for the time that you went out into the wild and hunted that animal to cook that meal or whatever it was, you got this dopamine hit of like, yes, you did it. You achieved something. And we need that as primal beings on the earth, because that tells us do more of that thing. And so basically what technology has done is it's co-opting our brains in a way that we're getting that dopamine hit without doing anything. And the more you get the hits, the more you want to get another one. And so that's why we're on longer. So it's triggering that same chemical in our brain that would be activated by sugar, drugs, or gambling. And over time, that constant stimulation is rewiring our brain. So now we're craving that instant gratification versus craving the long-term work that would have been required in order for us to sew that garment, in order for us to get that meal from the forest to the table. We've become addicted to the notification more than our purpose. And this is destroying our creativity, y'all, particularly for our children. So think about this. I'm having this whole conversation for us as adults, but think about our children who are the digital natives. And why this is so critically important is because for me, I was born in the late 70s. My brain developed before social media. So a fully developed brain means that my brain was wired to get natural dopamine. And so for our young people who are literally being handed devices before their brain is even developed, which they said can take up to the first 9 years, not just the first 3. We know it grows more in your entire lifetime in the first 3 years, but then all the way up to the first 9 years, your brain is still developing. And some people would say you're not a fully formed adult till you're in your 20s. And this is what nobody wants to talk about. The thing about creativity thrives on boredom, stillness, daydreaming, being still. That's where creativity comes from. Creativity is the seed going into the soil, into the darkness, sitting there alone, chilling, no entertainment, no light, being with itself. And so when we spend our days constantly reacting to other people's content, our mind loses its capacity for original thought. And we're taking in so much stimulation that our subconscious mind just doesn't have a space to produce. The soil is not ripe for creativity. And so people feel like I've lost my spark. I don't have the motivation. And they don't have the motivation. They don't have the creative spark, the creative juice to even get it flowing because the battery's just been drained. Our brains have been drained. We're constantly scrolling and feeding it to the algorithm, which is completely insatiable. It wants more. It's not about rejection of technology. It's about restoration. It has to become our workout now of giving our brain an opportunity to reset. Because again, this has never happened. And this has never happened in the history of humanity. So tech hygiene wasn't even required a generation ago, 2 generations ago, 3 generations. But now it's an imperative because we can see everything. We think that visibility equals intimacy. But people are more isolated than ever before. We're literally in a complete loneliness epidemic where people are renting best friends, renting people to snuggle with, renting people to come over and be like a surrogate mom and like bake them cookies. I'm not joking. People are getting paid for this right now. And real connection takes time. It takes presence. It takes energy. And again, when we think about our young people having the opportunity to cultivate friendships and even adults, the COVID pandemic forcing people into this place of isolation, they miss those key years of connectivity. Or even people who had connectivity and then because of the COVID pandemic, they disconnected. It's hard to plug back in now because all of this has now been redesigned. And we've traded real community for virtual approval. And even though we might psyop our minds into thinking that's okay, guess who knows the difference? Your nervous system, especially for those of us who are highly melanated, because our melanin is not just pigment. It is a conductor of light. It controls the electromagnetic frequencies that we see, the way we see color. That's why melanated people are colorful. It controls all the parts of the tongue, tasting the different taste buds. This is why we dance and move better, because it controls our ability to hear sound and polyrhythm. We actually eat the sun, so it contributes to our energy, and and that energetic frequency becomes our vibration, and that vibration becomes an amplifier and a magnet. And so the more that we are on screens, we're flooding our nervous system with electromagnetic signals designed to disrupt our natural. That's why moving with the cycles of the moon, moving with the cycles of the sun, understanding the interconnectivity of the moons and the ocean and the stars and our own physical body, and those of us who are born with wombs, how it affects our menstrual cycle. They're not just draining you on a mental tip. This is affecting your entire physical body. This then starts to imprint you. And those of us with wombs hold the eggs for the next 3 generations forward. So whatever is impacting you has already, let's be clear, has already impacted your next 3 generations that haven't even been born yet. Like, marinate on that though. What are the implications of that? So we have to step into awareness, and you can't heal what we don't name. And that's why we're naming it. We're naming the addiction. And so what I want you to start doing this week, a little bit of homework, is I want you to think about how often you're reaching for your phone out of habit, how often you're scrolling when you're just uncomfortable or bored, how it just becomes this autopilot. And then in the next episode, we're going to talk about that awareness, and we're going to turn it into action, because I'm going somewhere here. And this is the big announcement that I wanted to say. We are going to kick off the Shapeshift Digital Detox series, and we're going to start that December 25th. Stay with me, people. To January 1st. You have plenty of time to get ready for this. So no excuses. Get your mind right. We're doing this together. I'm going to do 2 back-to-back episodes on this topic. We're going to go into the winter solstice. I'm also going to be having a virtual winter solstice activation. Wow, this is our 5th year. So from December 25th to January 1st, no mindless scrolls, no notifications, just you, your spirit, and your rhythm, because it's time to unplug so our spirits can lock back in. So that's what I have for you today, Shapeshifters. I'm going to see you in 2 weeks for a part 2, where we're going to go a little deeper into this conversation. Hope you got something out of today. Until next time, keep shifting. Bye. Welcome back, Shapeshifters, for another exciting episode of Shapeshift Your Life podcast. This is part 2 of Unplug and Rewire, the reset you didn't even know you needed. So last session, we talked about the way that technology is adversely impacting our mind, our nervous system, and particularly how it plays into those of us who are highly melanated. And let me just say, everybody has melanin. Let me just say, everybody has melanin, not just Black people, let's be clear. But we all have different levels of melanin. And so race is a construction. Believe it or not, there is no such thing as race. We are one human family, people. But what does separate us, and then therefore separates the way that what the foods that we need to eat, the way that we need to take care of our bodies, the way that our bodies work, is melanin, and is the melanin dominance that we have in our bodies. And so that's where there's difference, but not necessarily like there's different races of people. So that's a little bit of a tangent. But anyway, I wanted to come back with the second episode, because we're going to be going into this digital detox that we talked about last week, and know that. And so this episode is about rewiring, resetting, and remembering who we are without all of the static. So a digital detox is not about disappearing, because it's not about disappearing or rejecting technology. I know that this is something that we all need. Many of us, I know for me, we're living abroad. Hey, I need my technology to get my money, and I get paid off. For many of us, we utilize technology. Those of us who are remote, particularly those of us who are living abroad, obviously we're going to be online. So this is just the way that we're tapping into a new level of our own hygiene and wellness, and that's with our digital wellness and our tech hygiene. And so this detox is really about reappearing in a way is not about disappearing. It's about reappearing in a way that's going to give us a conscious break so that our brains and our dopamine, so that our brains and our nervous system can really reset and we can come back into space with more clarity, with more creativity, so that we can come back into this space more reconnected with our minds, more clarity, more recalibration, more creativity in our minds, our bodies, and our spirit. So as we prepare for this adventure together, I want you to start by just checking your patterns. This was your homework from last session. This was your homework from the last episode. If you took a listen, that I wanted you to notice how often you're grabbing your phone. What came up for you, right? Do you grab your phone the second you wake up? Do you doom scroll when you're tired? What are your scroll triggers, right? Knowing our triggers around scrolling when we're tired, when we're lonely, when we're overwhelmed, maybe when we get home or put the kids to bed or, whatever it is for you, right? So part of that is just stepping into that level of awareness so that we can not just be automatic in the way that we're tapping in, but we can really start being intentional. And so one of the ways to do that is before you pick up that phone to just say, what am I actually needing right now? Take a step back. Why am I picking up my phone? Right? And then a lot of times we can make up reasons. Oh, I need to get this recipe for this cake that I'm never going to make. You know what I mean? Like, what? Or I need to find out this meme that I really want to share with my friend. How important is that? Right? Is it connection? Is it rest? Is it a distraction or an inspiration, right? Really knowing the why. And that small moment, I promise you, that small moment of pause is going to give you more power. And it's just going to give you a beat. And sometimes you're still going to open that phone, but I promise you there are going to be a lot more times when you won't just by doing that. So this isn't about throwing our phones away, right? It's about those micro moments that we can do to create a major shift. So start small. Maybe phone-free mornings, right? The first hour and the last hour of our day are critical in terms of how our days begin and how we release our day so we can fully get the level of deep sleep and restoration required to have a new day following. And so just giving yourself that hour to belong to spirit is going to be critical. And the same thing in the evenings. Maybe you have app-free evenings to really give your nervous system, particularly for those of us who are working remotely or have a lot of Zoom meetings. We're already on screens all day. And then if we go back into the app in the evening, that can just continue to create more stress. Also thinking about device-free zones, right? Get a clock. I have a watch. I need to get a actual clock in my bedroom. So your phone's not in your bedroom. I mean, that's super simple not to be able to have your phone in your bedroom. And so you might need to invest in a clock to wake up in the morning, but really keeping our bed and our sacred spaces tech-free and having device-free zones. And to protect our peace the same way that we protect our passwords, right? So as we are creating, more awareness around where devices are, also let's create more awareness around those beautiful analog activities, right? So for you, maybe it's creating a area of your home or reimagining your home or redecorating your home in a way that pulls out some of the things that you love to do. Like if you love to paint or you have wonderful art supplies, pull the art supplies out so you can see them. Maybe invest in an easel, right? If you love certain books, put books in the bathroom, books in the kitchen, books in the living room, sprinkle the books around. They don't just have to be on your bookshelf because that's the neat place. You have instruments that you like to play or you wanted to practice a craft. Maybe you have some crafts that you want to do on the sewing machine, set the sewing machine up. Even if you're not using it, just set it up. Just have stuff already set up and ready to go. And I know people have to be creative with the amount of space that they have. This could even be some activities in a basket in a corner, right? However much space or little space that you have, just making sure that you're really filling your space and reclaiming your space with joy. And you can tap into those analog activities, a record player and buying some new vinyl, or maybe you want to have more plants or grow a little herb garden. Just having those things out and visible that you can access. It doesn't have to become a project just to start the thing, is just going to make it a lot easier. And this is the easiest one that we always know. Nature. Spending time in nature, walking barefoot, going outside, anything that requires us being around life. Animals are huge. If you have pets, or you can even get around animals and getting around nature, that is just going to completely reduce stress and really allow you to get that connection hormone popping off. And community connection, right? Because we are beings that are built to get because that is going to give us that oxytocin hormone, which is the connection hormone, that we are wired to want to be around humans. And so giving ourselves opportunities to have dinners. I always, in the beginning of a week, make sure that I'm booking some time to be social with people that I care about and people in community. That might be in a community event I want to go to, or maybe I want to go dancing, or maybe I want to host a friend over the home for tea, or go take a walk, whatever it is, right? Just planning that time to be with humans. We're so disconnected right now. And I know for me, if I wanted to, I could just, stay in my house and get everything delivered. But it's important to me to get outside and to walk and take time for community connection so we can build that oxytocin, that connection hormone. And that's another hormone that, especially as women, I just learned is very important in our estrogen needs. And we need that oxytocin every single day. So these aren't just ways, so this isn't just about a new hobby, right? Hobby is not the right word here. This is how we're remembering our humanity. This is how we're not becoming robots, y'all. This because the Neuralink isn't just about waiting for the brain chip to get installed if you're going to walk around with the brain chip in your hand, right? We're already Neuralinked in. We're looking at Neuralink. It's the brain chip that Mr. MUSK wants to put in people's heads and program them, but we're already using that in our phones because we're holding on to them and we can't let go, right? So this is where we step into our humanity, knowing that our systems are ancient technology, that you are the original system upgrade, that your breath becomes your reset button, that your melanin absorbs sunlight and converts it into energy, that your heartbeat is syncing with the drum of the earth. So when we detox from that digital noise, we reconnect to our natural signal. And that's where our magic and our creativity and our intuition live. And again, look at the world. The world is crumbling. The empire is falling. And those of us who really believe another world is possible are going to need these currencies of our magic and our creativity and our intuition like never before. And we will be the architects of a new world. We will be the fluid and agile ones who from the ashes, the phoenixes will rise again and our victory will be sealed. And I believe that. I know that sounds, whooshy wash, but that's real for me. I know that's my purpose. That's my destiny. That's what I'm here to do. And I know that if you're listening to this, you're one of those people. So think about it as part of your liberation practice, right? And so we want to create that relationship with ourselves. And as we're preparing to close out this As we're preparing to close out this Gregorian calendar, because we know this is not the original calendar, but it is the Gregorian calendar of 2025, this 9-year of death and rebirth, as we prepare to step into the one of new beginnings, right? We can all agree that the world as we know it has died. Everything we know about the government, everything you know about real estate, everything you know about the music industry, everything you know about the entertainment industry, everything you know about the healthcare system, everything you know about war, it's over. It's a new era. At this point, anything new could come and you wouldn't even be surprised because we've already seen it. The world as we know it has died. And now it's time for us in the present moment to create the future that we want to see, knowing that that future is not going to be the majority. So if you're waiting for everybody to get on the bandwagon, I'll promise you now, let me save you some time. They ain't coming. Okay. This is tribal. This is, we share vision, values, points of unity. We agree that the earth is center. We believe in the divine feminine. This is tribe. This is mindset. This is values and traditions that are going to link people together in forming a new culture. This is not gender politics. This is not racial politics. This is not any type of identity politics where you can look at someone and you can say, oh, they're black, so therefore we're on the same tribe. Not mine. Or they're white, so they're not included. Not necessarily. You know, I'm not saying they can get in easily, but they might get in. And I might have to leave somebody else. They might not make the cut because some of y'all, I'm not sure, right? That's just what it is. So we want to make sure that as we step into this 2026, we're reimagining our relationship with these devices so that we can harness the tools for our own liberation as we are moving into Underground Railroad 2.0. Every single one of us becomes a safe space, a sanctuary, becomes an interconnected web of the mitochondria, becomes part of the interconnected hub of the mycelium network that is alive. And we are navigating that network together. And our physical bodies are the safe space. Our physical bodies are the sanctuary as we create spaces for healing and for liberation and for creativity and for safety and for abundance, because we are not buying into the spell. And we're going to watch Babylon fall, but we're not going to fall with it. That doesn't mean that things are not going to die with it and we're not going to have to change. And this is part of what the change looks like. And those of us who can maintain our awareness to say, oh, okay, this is getting a little too far. Let me set a boundary. Let me look at my wellness practice. Let me think about my tech hygiene. Let me think about my tech usage. Let me make sure I don't just drink all this Kool-Aid and wake up in a Jim Jones retreat, you know? So how do we want technology to serve us in 2026? And you heard me say serve. Let me make it personal. How do I want technology to serve me in 2026? And here's the thing. I'm not against AI. You know, I believe that we are divine intelligence. Yes, it's artificial intelligence, divine intelligence. I don't agree with how the data centers, the level of water usage. I don't find that it's solving any problems. It is extremely harmful to the planet. It destroys our brains. But I'm also someone that I'm smart enough to know that I don't think we're going to not use it. So I'm always one to learn new technological forms and utilize them as tools and to wield them as tools and to know that my ancestors placed me at this time on the planet. This is the terrain I'm working with. And so I got to work it, right? And all I can do is work it and be responsible in the best way that I can do. And so that means that utilizing this as a tool to push my podcast, to push the healing work that I want to do, right? That's why, and that's how I pretty much use technology. I don't really use it for anything else outside of business and uplifting people. And so thinking about what is the way that you want technology to serve you, What are those practices that are going to help you feel grounded and making sure that you take action? And so we're all going to be taking action December 25th to January 1st. We are embarking on 7 days of collective rest, creativity, and remembering. We are going to do a digital detox. I have an entire PDF designed for you. You might be flipping out. It's going to give you, and it's free. It's going to give you ways to prepare. It's going to give you an opportunity to list some of the goals that you have for your time. You're going to have an accountability partner. We're going to have a cute little Zoom gathering when it's all over just to share what the experience was like. I mean, we can give ourselves 7 days, right? It's December 25th to January 1st. What are you really doing that time anyway? And this is the time where we really veg out, right? On screens because, and what do you want to take the pajama picture and post it, your whole family's got to put on matching pajamas. Save that for the family group chat. We don't need that. Like you can still communicate, but what do we really need to do on social media? Here's what my Christmas tree looks like. We not supposed to be buying nothing anyway this year. Y'all know that, right? We are not supposed to be giving these oligarch billionaires one more dollar. Save your money for the holidays. And with that saving your money, you can also plug all the way out. Not only plug out your financial currency, unplug your energetic currency for 7 days so that we can step into 2026 with this real new beginning. You can even still take pictures and post them on January 2nd, right? It's not like you can't do it. But we know that when we disconnect from tech, we reconnect to our truth. So soon so you can go to my website, and you can click on the Digital Detox Cleanse Challenge. You can sign up for free. You can download the PDF. In a couple of weeks, our final episode of the year is going to be about the winter solstice, where we're really going to start resetting our nervous systems, reflecting on the year past and stepping into what's new for this new beginning. As then we go into the Digital Detox Reset January, and then we go into the Digital Detox Cleanse on December 25th. So we have the 21st is going to be the winter solstice gathering. You can check my website or my Instagram for that. I am at She's a Shapeshifter. Remember how to spell shapeshifter, SH8 on Instagram. Check out all my links for that event. That event is a free virtual event as well for the winter solstice. And then we are going to go into the Digital Detox Challenge, and we will be having a webinar when that's over. And we will be coming together for an integration session when it's over, just to talk about what the experience was like for us. So again, it takes a village. We're community together, and I'm really honored that I've been embarking on almost the last episode of 2025. I'm 30 episodes in, y'all. And, sometimes I sit in my office and I'm like, what am I doing? And then I get a text or a call or a comment or a feedback from you all that I listened to your episode and I shared it with someone and I got something out of it, and it keeps me going. And so your energy keeps me going. I'm also going to be I also just added a donation link to my website. If you want to contribute a little love offering to support a Black business, and to support this episode and to support this podcast, because this is not free. But this is something that I know that I'm called to do as a contribution to my community. So that was a lot. I'll see y'all in a couple weeks. We'll be celebrating the longest night of the year. I'll have the episode, and then we will have a virtual event together as we close out 2025 with a bang to step into our most powerful next chapter yet. That's what I got for you today, Shapeshifters. Until next time, keep shifting. Bye. Thank you for tuning in today, Shapeshifters. Your presence means the world to me, and I deeply appreciate you being here. If something resonated with you, don't forget to subscribe so you never miss an episode. Leave a comment and spread the love by sharing with others. Until next time, keep shifting.